Good evening, Adnan. Thank you for taking my video call. This is something new that the Lamborghini Club is doing, reaching out to owners during this pandemic, where we can chat with each other and share the Lamborghini experience with others on the internet through social media. How are you this evening?
I'm good, Andrew. Good evening to you too. Enjoying a nice sunny day today. So in St. Louis, Missouri.
Yeah, I'm up here in Michigan. It's pretty nice today. Believe it or not, I thought I was going to be getting out the Lambo this week, but it snowed here yesterday, so that slowed things down here a little bit in Michigan. I was going to take the Gallardo to go get some groceries.
Mm. No, we had a good day today. We actually a bunch of our cars went out, so that was fun. We had a good drive today.
That's fantastic. And thank you again for taking the time with us. I know that you're a doctor working on the front lines of this, so you're very busy. So again, thank you very much.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. As you know, we're in a coronavirus pandemic, so we're making strides, doing good things. Hopefully, if everyone just kind of does what they're supposed to do, social distance, I think we're gonna get over this, all of us. So.
What got you into the Lamborghini hobby? I see that you have a purple Huracan there that looks absolutely fantastic. Is that your first Lamborghini?
No, it's not my first Lamborghini. My first Lamborghini was actually a Lamborghini Gallardo. I started out bought a 2013 Gallardo. At that time, I did have another exotic car as well. So just really, it all happened when I was. We had a drive one day, and I saw this. It was actually another Gallardo, and when he was shifting down, the sounds it started making, I was like, I think I'm gonna get one of these, and that's how I started out. How I got my first Lamborghini Gallardo.
So the sound of the engine is what drew you in?
It drew me in big time, yeah, because good engine sounds are good, but just the shifting and the sound of it and being loud was a different thrill. It was just a different thrill from the other exotics that I owned. So.
What first got you into exotic cars? What was the draw for you as, a sports car passion or an exotic enthusiast? What brought you into it in the beginning?
So, for me, since my childhood, I've always wanted to have an exotic. Believe it or not, it started out, my childhood poster was a Lamborghini Countach. And if you remember that movie, The Cannonball Run, where the beginning with the Countach was in it, was just, I was like, wow, this is something that, I'd love to get. And thank God, as time went on and once we moved to the US, me and my wife, worked hard, and that's how I got into starting out with exotics. My first exotic was a Porsche, but then since then I've had actually more than 8 or 10 of them. So that's just blessed, on that.
I'm glad you came over to the Lamborghini side. You and I have been friends for a few years now, and you've done a fantastic job with the Lamborghini Club chapter in St. Louis. The event through the past couple of years has went really well, and you've engaged a lot of owners down there and made a lot of friends. It's really nice to see that.
Right. And, exactly. So when I started out with the Gallardo, and then I actually had an Aventador after that, and the cars, once I got those, my friends, when they saw it, and them having different cars like Ferraris and R8s or Vipers, believe it or not, a lot of them kind of converted into getting a Lamborghini as well. It's just the thrill of driving those cars on the roads is just different. It's totally different. To me, it's kind of a little bit of a magical. So when you see 8, 10 Lamborghinis on the road, and with the sounds, it just kind of stops traffic. Everybody's like flabbergasted as to what's going on. So I think from that perspective, when we started the club, we engaged a lot of people because we were doing a lot of drives and having these good events. So we're lucky, and we're glad we started this club here, and it's becoming big. We're still recruiting a lot of different members. Just today, when we went on our drive, there was a guy who bought a brand new Urus. It was actually a very nice, well optioned with body kits on it. So first thing I went up to him is like, are you in the Lamborghini Club? And he's like, no, I didn't know about it. And so we got him enrolled in. So that's good.
So the Huracan is your third Lamborghini. What made you choose that color?
So the color, I'll actually give the credit to my son. He's also a big fanatic of these cars. So the two previous Lamborghinis that I have, were the orange ones, and it was different colors. And I had never seen the color in person, but on videos and other, we decided to we liked the color. It was different. It looked more exotic. The good thing about Lamborghini is that these cars look amazing with these colors outside. I mean, these exotic colors on these cars and their lines, they just stand out like a mile away. So we first started out like that, and then once we got the color that we chose, okay, we're gonna go with the wheel of Pacific. What kind of calipers and what kind of interior? So it came to our mind, and it was actually my son's idea more that would make it what we call the Joker spec. So it'll be like purple with green. I went to the dealership when I ordered the car. Brian was a great salesman out there who helped us along with it, because I kept on asking him, listen, Brian, I want to make a combination color that hopefully doesn't look weird or odd, because once you order the car, then you gotta have the car. And it was fun. It was a real fun process in ordering it and specing it out, and now we love it. Actually, people love it wherever we go. They love the color combination. They love the Joker spec idea on it. So that's where we are today.
Yeah, it was great that you brought it out to Monterey last year. No one else had that color combination, and it caught a lot of attention. So I think you picked a good color combo.
Right. Lucky with that. So that's good.
So from the time you ordered it till the time you received the car, what was that time period? Was it a long process or was it pretty quick?
So I really have to actually thank the dealership on that. When we spec'd it out, we were planning to have like a big opening reveal for the car as well, where the dealership was obviously once again very helpful with us in trying to reveal it for us. We had a big huge party there, so we had dates set. We obviously wanted you to come down, bring the president. We also wanted Mr. Balboni to come down and look at it. So keeping everybody's itinerary and dates. I needed the car at a certain date, so they got it done. It took about 5 months to order it. We were I know that most of the times it takes approximately 6 months to get it done. So they got it done within like 5 months, and they actually flew the car over from Italy instead of shipping it, just so that we can make this event. And it was a fabulous event that we had.
That was the event in June that I came down for with Valentino?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, that was a pretty big celebration, and I remember your car being debuted, but I didn't know if you had a separate party before that.
So I mean, we usually like to do that with Lamborghini. If somebody buys it, we kind of like to do a little small reveal and stuff like that.
So is the Lamborghini Passion something that you share with your family? You mentioned your son. Does he go out on drives with you? Does he drive your car ever? Or is it just you in the hobby within your family?
So no, my son's actually very big into it. He's obviously at a driving age. He's turning close to 18. He does take the car out himself. He loves photography, so he takes the car out. He kind of probably pushes it a little more than I do. He knows how to make the sounds right. He knows which mode to go in to make those sounds right, and so he enjoys it and loves it just as much as I do. Obviously, my wife loves driving it. I try not to give it to her too much, just because I don't want to liking it too much, so that she kind of takes it away. I'm just kidding, but she also kind of really enjoys driving it. She's also experienced our other cars, and I think this is probably one of her favorite cars too, driving it. So it's a very very easy car to drive, and a very fun car to drive. So
now, living in the Midwest, do you drive the car year round or just seasonally?
Unfortunately, it is seasonally, but I have taken the car out. Probably if there's no snow on the road, then even if the temperatures are below 40 and all that, I will sometimes take the car out. I may not push it obviously as hard the second night with the tires and all that, but I do take it out. We take it out in the rain. We'll take it out when we need to take it out. So if you're in the mood to go out, we'll just sit in it, go out for a little bit, drive around, have our thrills, and then just come back and enjoy it. Just like in the pandemic right now, sometimes me and my son in the night, when it's late, then I'll say, Samir, let's go for a little drive, and we'll take it out, just hit the streets up and down the roads, and I don't know, just to us, that's it's just fun to do.
Yeah, it's a question I'd like to ask because it's a seasonal hobby for me here in Michigan. We get a lot of snow in the wintertime, but there are other owners that put snow tires on their car and drive it year round, like our friend Rick Shue in Indianapolis. Hey, his Gallardo, he puts snow tires on it, and he drives it in the winter in addition to the summer. So, some of our Lamborghini Club members really get the use out of their cars.
Right, right. And I like to kind of, I may not be as brave as that to take it out in the snow just because it's a nice car, and it's also the other people driving kind of concerns me a little bit. I don't want anybody coming crashing into my car. So I don't know. For me, that might be a little bit stretching it too much, but yeah, people do it. I mean, I know a person who drives his car literally every single day and has close to 80,000 miles on his Huracan. So
They're in St. Louis?
he used to live in St. Louis, and then he moved out to Las Vegas. So now I know he's still driving it there because he keeps putting his mileage up to show us like, he's still doing it. So it's a great thing.
I know that your Huracan is pretty new, but what's next for you as far as Lamborghinis? Do you have anything else in mind that you're going to be purchasing soon, or are you going to sit tight for a little while on this purple Huracan?
So you could say I'm kind of stuck a little bit right now. I just love this car a lot. I think we just spec'd it out really well. We love the colors. We love the way it drives and the performance. Just the response we get from it is unbelievable. So I'm kind of like stuck as to what to replace it with or what to add. I do miss my Aventador quite a bit. It was a totally different car, a V12. The doors opening up, and the size of it was just big. It was just different sound, and so for me, I might, if I were to go, I might go head the way of another Aventador, or add another Aventador, or try to get an SV down the line somewhere. That's where I would probably go if I was to ever replace this car.
If you had to pick the favorite thing from your Gallardo, Aventador, and Huracan, what would those things be?
So the Gallardo, I didn't have it that long. I actually just had it for 6 months because I got into an Aventador very quickly, just because I test drove an Aventador, and so I didn't have a lot of experience with the Gallardo. It was, the shifting was obviously very different. It was the single clutch was a different feeling. It was fun because you could every single time you'd be switching gears, you could feel it. The Aventador, when I went into it, it was just the car was gorgeous like hell from the inside, from the outside. To drive it, it was just like a beast. I mean, it was just, you take off and you felt like as if you were gonna fly. It used to scare you. That's how it was. It was a little hard. Steering was a little harder. Clutch was in between like a Huracan and the Gallardo. So for me, it was I was a little bit more careful on that car. Just because of the size and the way it drove, but I just loved it on the way we used to go on drives, and so that was different. And then the Huracan is just again very easy to drive. The steering is just phenomenal. It handles well. It's very responsive. You can take a lot more risk than you would with say the Aventador in a way, but they all had different qualities, and I actually enjoyed all three of them. So, but obviously I enjoyed the Huracan the best, and probably the Aventador as well. So for me, they're kind of like maybe a 60-40 sort of a thing, with 60 leaning towards a little bit more towards the Huracan.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned the things you did about the Aventador experience. Valentino says with the Aventador and the Murcielago, they don't forgive you when you make a mistake. Whereas the Gallardo or the Huracan, there's a little bit of forgiveness if you make a driving mistake or an error while you're driving on the track, for example.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, like I said, the Aventador, always be careful. I mean, it was fun. but it was a different experience for sure. I mean, the Huracan is just we go on these these wineries and these winding roads, and so we sometimes push the cars a little bit, and thank God I've never kind of felt as if I've lost control, or if it's kind of since both of them were all of them were all-wheel drives. I'd never had that thing where I'm losing the car, but sometimes you'll be a little bit more, easier on the Aventador versus the Huracan is different. It's smaller. You can see more. The vision, visibility is better a little bit. So, but they're both fun cars. I mean, when you see an Aventador or when you're behind an Aventador, you're like, oh, I wish I had my Aventador. It's just a beast. It's a beast. Love that car.
So you mentioned you've owned a number of different exotic brands. What makes Lamborghini special to you? Is it the performance of the cars, the design, the brand history? What sticks out to you as an owner as making the connection to you with the experience?
So from mine, like I've had a few Ferraris. I've had the R8s. I've had the Viper. I've had a few Porsches. Then obviously I've kind of switched on more to Lamborghinis right now, and it's just to me, when I buy these cars, I like something that's good looking from the inside. It's good looking from the outside. When I drive it, obviously it's gotta give me that feeling of having fun. So for me, two of the brands that I would say that have kind of given me good fun, honestly speaking, is the Lamborghini and the Ferrari both. Ferrari more so when they didn't have the turbos in so much, when they were naturally aspirated. Like I had the 458, that ran pretty well, sounded good. But then when you come to Lamborghinis now, it's not only that it runs good, looks good, but it just sounds a lot better. And me and my son, when we go out for drives, and every time we go under a tunnel or every time we go under a bridge, when you're shifting down and the sound, it's a different thrill. We both are always just like going, whoa, whoa, all the time. For me, that's a fun thing, So you gotta have a car that you are looking forward to going out, driving, and having the experience. So for that reason, for me, like the Lamborghinis are right now, I'm just kind of, I don't know what's going to replace them. I would say I don't know what cars can kind of replace the sound of it. I know the new Ferraris, we've seen a few ones real, and when you rev them up, it's just not, it doesn't do anything for you. And for me, I'm more of a stock guy. I like my exhaust to be stock. I like my cars to be stock, and just that everything being stock, giving you everything is a big deal. Anybody can throw on an exhaust, but the engine it doesn't sound that way. So it's different. Lamborghini. You look at an old Countach on the road, you look at an old Diablo on the road, or you look at an old Murcielago on the road. It just, everybody is like, wow, 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 look at that car. It's so wide. It's beautiful. That's what I get responses from every single time we go on these drives. And when these guys come out and bring out these cars, even we're like, having Lamborghinis is like, wow, that car really looks good. So I don't know. For me, it's I think the brand's doing great. I'm hoping, it continues to keep bringing out these gorgeous shapes, lines. I've got a little sneak preview of the new Huracan Performante, the Evo that's coming out, and now I'm like, oh, that looks really good, So I don't know. That's how I feel.
For the next part of this video interview, I want to do something a little more fun. We have some rapid fire questions, so you have 2 minutes to answer these questions as quickly as you can. What is your dream Lamborghini?
Probably Countach.
If you were driving that on a road trip, would you be driving on American roads or Italian roads?
I haven't driven Italian, so I'm going to have to say American.
Okay, fair enough. Who would be in the passenger seat with you?
Only two, either my son or my wife.
If you had to pick one, which would it be?
Since I've been with my son most of the time, probably him, since he appreciates it more.
Okay, what snacks would you have in the car?
What snacks? Probably chips.
Any drinks?
Water's good for me.
Okay, next question. You've answered it a little bit already. With regard to owning a Lamborghini, keep it stock or modify it?
All the stock for me.
So when you let Samir take your car out, where's he going with it? Is he taking a girlfriend out to the movies? Is he going to show off with his guy friends? What's he up to? Do you put any rules on what time he has to be back with the car?
So, in all reality, I let him drive with me. It started out like that. And after a while, it was him just taking the car and his parents not knowing. Not a good thing, but he loves the car. I know why he takes it out. He has shown off with his girlfriend as well. He does like to take it out with his friends. I think he likes to do more because he loves the sounds just the way I do. So he's kind of gotten in trouble a little bit with the sounds, with complaints like, this person's driving the car or he's shifting it too loud, or so it's those kind of things, which any 18-year-old with a Lamborghini would probably do, I guess. But he's a very careful driver. He's a good driver. He is responsible. He takes care of the car. He makes sure that it's in good condition and he's not abusing it, and I think that's important.
So if we asked his girlfriend or some of his friends, does the car belong to him or does the car belong to dad?
I'm pretty sure he says it belongs to the dad. He never says it's his car. I know that. From what I know from him, I know he's like that. He, believe it or not, when we were in Monterey, he took the car out as well. When we were at the Quill, he's like, I want to go home early. I think I'm getting tired, and I'm okay. And so I was hanging out a little later, and when I came home at the hotel, the car was gone, and he was out with who was it? Doc. Huh? Doc.
Oh,
He was out with Dr. M3, who's got the exact same color as my car, and they were out cruising. And I think everybody was just being talked about it. There was a lot of social media on it, just with the two purple performantes. So he likes that stuff. He likes to hang out with the social YouTubers and stuff like that, and which is kind of it's fun.
yeah, it's great. It's special and unique that you have that kind of relationship with your son. A lot of fellow club members, either their kids, don't have that much interest in sports cars. They're too busy with social media or Instagram or something else. Or if they are interested, their mother or father, whoever owns the Lamborghini, they keep the keys hidden or, say that, they can't drive the car. So it's cool that you have that relationship with Samir.
I think my advice to our fellow members is get your kid involved really early. So he's been with me since 8 years old. So I think he's just I think he's gone to the extreme where all he likes is just cars. So it's funny.
And you said you haven't been to Italy, so I can't ask about any Italy trips, but why haven't you visited the factory yet? That's a pilgrimage that everybody needs to make.
So believe it or not, we were planning to, as a family, go to Italy and actually do visit all this, but then the pandemic kind of hit. So I don't know where we're going to be in June, July. I don't foresee us traveling there, at least this year for sure, but hopefully next year.
Yeah, that's a good point. And since you mentioned the pandemic, I'd like to talk about something that the club is doing. So Joy Liu, our marketing director, has set up an LCA team page with the CDC Foundation. And the CDC is, as you know, works toward the fight of the virus with this pandemic. So we've been asking fellow club members to make a donation on the Lamborghini team page on the CDC Foundation site, which we will put that link in the text description of this video. So I know that you do a lot of charitable things with your Lamborghini hobby, Adnan. What are your thoughts on making charitable donation, doing events for good causes? What have you guys done in St. Louis?
So yeah, I am actually very for it, for doing charitable events, since I'm an infectious disease doctor. So the hospital that I work in, especially in the St. Louis County, has had the most cases of COVID cases that we're seeing. So all charity, actually, even today's drive that we went was actually a small parade that we did through the neighborhood, and it was a fundraiser for the underserved areas to provide them with meals, anything related. Right now, everybody's kind of crunching for money, so we did collect quite a bit of money, and then we donated there. So yes, I know for a fact that, speaking from others, that they're all out to donate and help out for charity, especially for what's going on these days.
So with this video call that we did, you have a captive audience in front of you. You have most of the Lamborghini Club membership in the country and around the world. Is there anything you'd like to say to your Lamborghini friends through this video call?
Keep driving the car. I know all of you are probably relating the same thing that I'm saying right here as one of the owners of this fabulous car, that you probably also have had multiple cars along with your, with the Lamborghini, and probably have experienced these other cars as well. But that these cars are, when you're driving them on the road, it's always about the fun factor, that you're enjoying the car. So when we say we're enjoying the car, to me, that's what it means. You actually enjoy the car, and not just kind of driving it, regularly, or like a regular car that you're driving. So keep doing it what we're doing. Let's support the brand a lot, and hopefully they hear us when we also make suggestions as to how to keep the car going, and don't take out things that that other brands have kind of gone a little bit towards. So I don't know. That's how I feel personally, but.
So I'm guessing the thing that you're worried about them taking away is the sound of the car.
Sound of the car, and I don't know if they, obviously I'm pretty sure they'll be going into probably turbos, and seeing how the Ferrari is, where the 458 was like their last naturally aspirated car. Having had one, I used to like that, and the sounds are great. Sitting in some of these 488s and the Pistas, and even the new F8 that's come out, I'm telling you, when you rev that car, you're not hearing anything, but you're hearing the turbos more so. Now, granted, they may be faster, their performance might be good, but everybody's different, So to me, going 0 to 60 in 2.4 seconds or 2.6 seconds is about the same for me. I mean, I don't know. You can see from our car, the Performante, it's got great performance numbers. I mean, 0 to 60 in 2.3, 2.4 seconds with a quarter mile in 10.3. I mean, that's fast for a stock car. I mean, so by putting turbos in, I know you're doing more fuel efficiency and all that stuff, but they got to come up with something in which they got to keep that sound going, and they got to keep that thrill going. It's all about the thrill. I don't know.
That's an interesting point that you bring up, the younger owners within the Lamborghini community. The Lamborghini history is a very important part of the brand. Do you think that the younger owners know or care about the history, or are they just buying the car for what the car is itself? Because my purchase experience was based on the car I was buying. My first one was a Diablo, but also the brand history that came with it was really important in my purchasing decision, as well as important figures in the brand like Bob Wallace or Valentino Balboni.
Right. Again, different age groups. Like I can see from my son who's 18 years old, and he kind of hangs out with a little of the older kids. And on his social media, you can see he's always looking at these cars, and they look at more also these cars being modified as well. So they'll see Huracans being twin turbo up to 1500 horsepower, But there's certain cars I can see them looking at. They'll either look at the hypercars, or they look at these cool Lambos and, the the SVJs and all that. So I think they like that. They also kind of, as far as the history is concerned, I've also seen that, especially in our club, a little older than him, maybe in the high 20s to early 30s. Those groups that have gotten some cars, which have included Murcielago, and some of them do have the Diablos. Then they have the Aventadors. When Valentino came down to them, that was a huge. It was like meeting an icon. So obviously they had to know the history of who Valentino is to even appreciate who he is, right? So and I was kind of surprised, because they just when he came down to St. Louis for us, they flocked to him. They wanted their cars signed, which they did get it signed. So for them, I think they do know the history. They because we also in our club try to put up our history as to where the car comes from, how it started, even how Valentino, when he started, we put up these videos, and I think people learn from it. They're educated about it. They know about it. So I think they kind of put everything together. So I think it's a mixture. I think the young people, once they know the car, they love the car, then they definitely, because we always get challenged by other brands as to, the Porsche 911 GT2 RS is better, then that person goes back, and then he kind of goes researches his own history of his background. I don't know. That's how I kind of sometimes see it with the members that we have.
So the annual Lamborghini Club event that you hold in St. Louis every summer, can you tell us more about that event?
So we're as for St. Louis, we're very lucky to have very good, generous members in our club. I actually also members that are in the board that we made for the club as well. So we wanted to have something like very special for Lamborghini, have like a special event. I think the members love it. We've had this now for 2 years, and every year we've kind of actually added more people, and everyone's gonna come out. The event has really turned out to be that everybody wants to come to it, even if they don't have a Lamborghini. So which is the best part, because when they come out, we try to get every single model of the car that we have, especially for St. Louis. We reach out to all of Missouri. In fact, not just St. Louis. We've had some neighboring states come out as well, from Tennessee, Kansas City and Kansas, and those areas have kind of also come out for this particular event, because now that they've heard that it's all the members are loving it, their brand is there. We make it a whole day affair, in which actually we make it a 2-day event, in which we start out Saturday morning. We go for this 1 hour, 1.5 hour drive to a winery where it's specially made for the place is held out for us. We have a big event there, and usually have a band playing there. And then from there, we kind of go back to the hotel, we kind of relax, and then the evening start again at like 6:30, and then have an awesome party in the night. That if there's any new cars that the dealership comes out, we actually also try to do a reveal. It gets everybody engaged. Everybody loves it. It's a formal party. Usually people are dressed up. So we make it to go with the car. Lamborghini is a high-end car that needs high-end events, So I think everything kind of blends well. The people love it. I obviously enjoy it. I actually want to thank out to you, being the president of the Lamborghini Club America, to really, really support. I think you've supported me to run the club in Missouri a lot. I always call you, and I always am asking you for a lot of help and your advice about it, because I know, that's how I want to make it better. So for us to make it better, obviously we work together, but the good thing is you do, which is great. I think as a brand for Lamborghini, Valentino coming down all the way from Italy for the club is a huge, huge thing. I think people appreciate that, because that's what we want. We want our brand to be there as well with us. If we're loving these cars, then we also want the support of these, and we get that 100%. So I think, combining all of those things, everybody looks forward to it. We're always thinking of new things to do. We're planning something to do this year as well. But unfortunately, with the pandemic, I am not sure if we're going to proceed with that for now. But we were planning a nice big rally for the whole of Midwest, in a way, so that we can engage everybody around to start doing something together. So those are some future things that we're looking into.
Yeah, let's not count it out now. Maybe we can do something in the fall if the pandemic situation lasts that long. Maybe before the weather gets cold.
Correct, and then that's, like I said, we'll see how it goes, and then if everything's safe, then why not? Obviously, we're gonna pursue that.
Yeah, thank you, Adnan. The event that you guys put on down in St. Louis is fantastic. A bunch of us came. You forgot to mention Michigan and California.
Oh, correct.
You had a big gathering last year, and that party Saturday night was amazing. The turnout there, the fact that you had the whole range of modern Lamborghinis, as well as a Countach and a Miura, it was a cool scene, to say the least.
And we're happy. I mean, we enjoy it. That's the thing. It's more of an enjoyment for us than really, and I think that's what the members are seeing, and that's believe me, I've converted a lot of guys who had different brands into Lamborghinis, and sometimes I get a little heat for that. Like, why are you getting rid of all other brands? I'm like, well, I mean, it's not my fault. They see it, they like it, they buy it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you again, Adnan, for taking my video call and spending the time with us today to catch up and chat and share your Lamborghini experience. The club certainly appreciates the leadership you've shown in St. Louis, and you've set a very good example for the rest of us in the country. So thanks for your hard work.
No, thank you, Andrew. Appreciate it. So always, again, it's the help from you guys. So you make it happen as well. You're part of it.
Great. So I look forward to seeing you soon at an event.
All right, thank you, Andrew. Hopefully the fall, if we decide to go with our rally and everything. So
Sounds good. Thank you. Goodbye.